In this module, we will try to understand the meaning of the word statistical mechanics, what this mechanics is all about. Then we will also understand what is the role of statistical mechanics in chemistry, and then we will study fundamentals of statistical mechanics, and we will discuss three statistics, namely Maxwell-Boltzmann statistics, Bose-Einstein statistics, and Fermi-Dirac statistics. Now, the first question which will come to your mind is, what is this statistical mechanics? Why do we study it? First of all, you should keep it in mind that statistical mechanics is a theoretical science of bulk matter. That means, we take a bulk matter and try to study it theoretically, and then we will calculate the properties of this bulk matter through statistical mechanics. At this stage, a question may come to your mind as to what do we mean by bulk matter here. Bulk matter basically means an agglomeration of many particles. That means, these particles taken together will constitute the bulk matter, and these particles are generally of atomic or subatomic level. This bulk matter is to be contrasted with macroscopic matter. See, macroscopic matter basically will mean those objects which we can see with our naked eye or touch them, whereas bulk matter, as I mentioned earlier, is a collection or agglomeration of many atomic or subatomic particles. So, statistical mechanics basically will try to study the properties of the bulk matter. You have already studied in your classes quantum mechanics. Here there may be a question as to what is the difference between quantum mechanics and statistical mechanics. Please remember that quantum mechanics is a theoretical science also, but it is a theoretical science of microscopic matter. By microscopic matter, we will mean if we take a single atomic or subatomic particle and study it, the corresponding science which is used to study this is quantum mechanics. One may also ask, why do we need a separate science for microscopic matter? The reason is very clear, and you have already studied at your school level also, that for microscopic matter, dual behavior is very important. By dual behavior, I mean that at microscopic matter level, both particle and wave nature are very important. You already know the famous de Broglie equation, which states lambda is equal to h upon mv or h upon momentum. Now, momentum can only be of a particle, whereas lambda, which is the wavelength, can only be of a wave. So, this simple equation embodies both particle and wave character. That means, the dual character of the matter, which becomes very significant for microscopic matter. So, quantum mechanics basically takes into account this dual behavior, and the corresponding equation which we solve for any microscopic particle or matter is, you already know that equation, that is Schrodinger equation. Now, once we know what is quantum mechanics, then the question comes, how is it different from statistical mechanics? Quantum mechanics, as I said, gives you the properties, or what we say in quantum mechanics, observables of microscopic matter, whereas in the case of statistical mechanics, no doubt it is also a theoretical science, it is also a mechanics. Please remember, the word mechanics means science of motion. Here in statistical mechanics, we get an information about the laws of motion of a bulk matter, whereas in quantum mechanics we get the laws of motion of microscopic matter. Now, as I said that in statistical mechanics we study a bulk matter. Now, bulk matter is a collection of many particles. Each individual particle of atomic or subatomic level can be studied through quantum mechanics. But once we have collection of many such particles, then using the results of quantum mechanics, we will apply some statistical average, probabilistic behavior to calculate the properties of that bulk system. So, that is what basically statistical mechanics do. It will use the results of quantum mechanics, that means of individual particle, and ultimately it will give us the properties of the bulk matter using the principles of statistical mechanics. And the properties which ultimately we will get, generally we get the properties like thermodynamic properties, what we already have learned about internal energy, enthalpy, entropy, Gibbs free energy, etc. All these properties which you have studied in classical thermodynamics, these properties can be calculated theoretically using statistical mechanics, and that is the exact computation of these properties using the data of microscopic particles, that means quantum mechanical data, is ultimately the aim of statistical mechanics. That is why statistical mechanics is also sometimes called statistical thermodynamics. You must keep it in mind that ultimately the properties which we will get, they will be related to atomic parameters. For example, entropy, if we calculate, entropy in statistical mechanics will come in terms of the mass of the gas or temperature or volume, etc. All those factors which are very, very important. Whereas, in classical thermodynamics, entropy change you get through the simple relation ds is equal to dq reversible upon T. But here you do not go to the microscopic level, and that is the beauty of statistical mechanics. So, in a nutshell, one can say that statistical mechanics is a link between quantum mechanics and classical thermodynamics. Here I would also like to tell you the term which you often study and which you must have studied in physics, that is classical mechanics. Classical mechanics again involves the word mechanics, that means it is also the science of motion, but it is generally the science of motion of macroscopic objects. That means those objects which we can see with our naked eye or can touch them. So, classical mechanics, as you must have studied, is basically based on Newton's laws of motion. So, you have to be very, very clear about what is quantum mechanics, what is statistical mechanics, what is classical mechanics, and also what is classical thermodynamics. Please remember that the term statistical mechanics was coined by an American mathematical physicist J. Willard Gibbs, and this term was coined in the year 1884. After having understood what is the meaning of the term statistical mechanics and what is its role in chemistry, especially in the calculation of the various thermodynamic properties of the bulk matter, now we will come to the fundamentals of statistical mechanics. You will agree that we will always start with a bulk matter, and bulk matter will contain many subatomic or atomic level particles. Now, depending upon the nature of these particles, that means what these particles are all about, we will apply a different statistics. So, statistical mechanics basically involves three types of statistics. One is the Maxwell-Boltzmann statistics, which is also called classical statistics. and other two which fall under the category of quantum statistics, they are Bose-Einstein statistics and Fermi-Dirac statistics. Now, the question will come, where to apply which statistics. So, that is very, very important, and let us try to understand that. First, we will take up Maxwell-Boltzmann statistics. Now, this Maxwell-Boltzmann statistics basically applies to that system where the individual particles are distinguishable. That is the first condition. In this case, we do not take into account the internal structure of the particles, like you have studied about ideal gas molecules. For example, in ideal gas molecules, we do not talk about the internal structure of the molecules. Therefore, in such systems, we will apply Maxwell-Boltzmann statistics. So, the first condition is that the particles should be distinguishable, and second is that these particles will occupy various energy levels at any temperature. Now, the various energy levels which these molecules occupy, there is no restriction on how many molecules can be there in one energy level. That means, there is no restriction on the occupancy of these energy levels. So, these three things are very, very important in Maxwell-Boltzmann statistics. First, particles must be distinguishable. Secondly, internal structure of these particles is ignored, not taken into account, and third is there is no restriction on the occupancy of energy levels. These particles which obey Maxwell-Boltzmann statistics are also called Boltzons or Maxwellons. Next category is the quantum statistics, and here we have one statistics which is known as Bose-Einstein statistics. Now, Bose-Einstein statistics will be applicable to those systems which contain particles which are indistinguishable. Unlike Maxwell-Boltzmann statistics, here particles are indistinguishable, and here we do take into account the internal structure of these particles. And thirdly, here also there is no restriction on the occupancy of energy levels. So, these are the three conditions which the particles must satisfy if they have to follow Bose-Einstein statistics, and the particles obeying Bose-Einstein statistics are called bosons. Here is shown a diagram where you can very well see what we have already discussed now. For Bose-Einstein statistics, you can see this diagram where there are 9 particles which are shown. But you can see in the first left hand side diagram, in the first ground level epsilon 0 or E 0, we have 3 particles, whereas in the second diagram we have 2 particles, and then in the next we have 1, and in the right hand diagram we have 2. Like that, there is no fixed rule as many particles will be there as we can put. All this ultimately will be depending upon temperature, etc. But this is a very important rule, that there is no restriction on the occupancy of levels. Here can be a question as to what are the examples of the particles which obey Bose-Einstein statistics, that means bosons. Examples are those particles which have normally integral spin, they are obeying Bose-Einstein statistics. Example is photons, then we have helium 4, H2, then deuterium D2, etc. All these systems, all these particles have integral spin, and therefore, they will obey Bose-Einstein statistics. And the third statistics are another subclass of quantum statistics is Fermi-Dirac statistics. and the particles which obey Fermi-Dirac statistics, they are called fermions. These are the particles which are indistinguishable. Secondly, here also we take into account the internal structure of the particles. And thirdly, unlike the other two statistics, here there is a restriction on the occupancy of energy levels. It is not that any number of particles can obey or occupy any level, that is not true. There is a restriction and those rules have to be followed. So, these particles, as I just said, are called fermions, and the examples of fermions are those particles which have half integral spin. For example, electrons, as you know, have half spin. So, electrons are fermions, and if there is a system which is containing the collection of electrons, then to study that system we will have to apply Fermi-Dirac statistics. Other particles having half integral spin are, you have helium 3, you have nitric oxide, all these are also having half integral spin and therefore fall under the category of fermions. So, now we have seen that before applying any statistics, we have to be very clear about the nature of particles present in the system, and depending upon the nature of the particles, we will apply appropriate statistics to calculate the properties of the system. If the particles are distinguishable and there is no restriction on the occupancy, and if the internal structure is ignored, then we will apply Maxwell-Boltzmann statistics, which is a classical statistics. On the other hand, if we take into account internal structure, particles are indistinguishable and there is no restriction, then we will apply Bose-Einstein statistics. And if, unlike in Bose-Einstein statistics, there is a restriction on the occupancy, then we will apply Fermi-Dirac statistics. And we have also seen that by taking internal structure into account means that Bose-Einstein statistics particles will be those particles which have integral spin, and Fermi-Dirac statistics will be obeyed by those particles which have half integral spin. We will study in details about these statistics later on. So, to summarize, in this module we have learnt that statistical mechanics is a theoretical science of bulk matter, and we have also seen that statistical mechanics is a link between quantum mechanics and classical thermodynamics. And since ultimately we calculate the thermodynamic properties of the bulk matter, therefore, sometimes we also call it statistical thermodynamics. And then we saw that depending upon the nature of particles in the system, we apply appropriate statistics. We apply either Maxwell-Boltzmann if internal structure is to be ignored, and if internal structure is taken into account, then depending upon the spin of the particles, we apply Bose-Einstein statistics or Fermi-Dirac statistics. So, that is basically what we have learnt in this module, and we will continue with our discussion on details of these statistics in our subsequent modules.